I love Comic-Con. It's really nice to be back. This is my 9th one, and I'm sure it's all your 9th or 10th or 11th or 15th ones. It's really nice to be back.
Can you talk a little bit about your character in The Gifted? Because he's very conflicted, isn't he, by what occurs with his children and how that unfolds?
I was really drawn to the idea, having spent a couple of years away from genre, wasn't in a hurry to come back, but when I read the script I was really excited that I was playing somebody without power, somebody who was an ordinary man who was affected by this. And what's interesting about him, as you probably know, is that he is a prosecutor and within our world, mutants are fine to live alongside humans as long as they don't use their mutant powers. If they use their mutant powers to detrimental effect within society, government prosecutes. And somebody like myself prosecutes on behalf of the government and takes that person out of society and puts them into a detention centre. And I was very drawn to that. I think I've gone off topic a little bit. What was your question?
No, that's exactly it. The fact that then what happens with his children happens, so he's very conflicted.
Right, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
And so I was very drawn to the idea that this person who has all these beliefs and thinks he's doing the right thing, he doesn't think he's he's not a bad man. He's trained to be a lawyer, he's been doing this job for 20 years, he's doing, suddenly this happens to his son and he has to turn his back on everything that he has and go on a run. And suddenly, from being in this beautiful house, beautiful car, beautiful children, private school, blah, 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 they're literally subterranean and living a really sort of hand-to-mouth existence. And I was really drawn to that idea and the parallels that obviously sit in our world with what's going on today, not just here but everywhere.
Have you been familiar with the X-Men franchise beforehand? Were you a fan, or?
I was very much when I was a kid. I read the Beano, which you all know about, but I also read Spider-Man, and so my favourite characters were always the Spider-Man. It was always Spider-Man stuff. I loved it. When that first Tobey Maguire film came out, I was like, it was amazing. I thought I could fly again. It was amazing. So I obviously knew about the X world, but it wasn't necessarily what I had consumed. I love the idea of otherness being championed and disenfranchised members of society who feel persecuted being able to fight back. There was an aspect of True Blood that was a lot about that as well, obviously, metaphors of LGBTQ society being able, we even talked about characters coming out of the coffins and I always really liked that and any chance that we get in what we do, which is ultimately entertainment, to sort of scratch away at the surface of what's going on in the world, I think is a great thing.
So if you had to list one thing or two things from the series that kind of motivates your character to get out of bed every day and keep going, what would they be?
Wow. Well, I think before the incident happens, it would be believing that he is doing something that is helping his children live in a safe world, and then from the moment that these powers come to these kids and they are suddenly hunted, I would say, his whole paradigm, there was a whole paradigm shift for him. It all changes and he has to go on the run. And at that point, it's about protection of the things that you love and holding the things that you love very close to you. And it's ultimately about family and protecting your family and going to the ground for what you believe in.
With Bryan Singer being obviously such a veteran of the X-Men franchise, how was it having him come on to direct the pilot?
Amazing. I was just a huge fan of Usual Suspects. I loved that pupil, and I'd heard many stories from my wife about what it was like to work with him. She is a big fan of Brian and her. So I'd met him a few times, but I'd never got to work with him. I'm a director myself, so I was really fascinated about how he was going to throw the camera around, what he did differently, and just like sitting next to him and just wanting to sort of just like be like this kind of sponge. He also has this encyclopedic knowledge of the X universe, and so you can ask him anything. He'll also, he has this ability. Sean talked about it yesterday during our panel. He has this ability to be. He will literally go. Reed wouldn't put that there. Reed would put it there because he'd want there to be an expansive reason as to, every single minutia had a reason for being. At the same time, he's unbelievably objective. And that little thing that he's done will play out weeks later. And it's amazing to watch because Matt had been through many drafts by the time we sat down and wrote and did that script, and yet would be there. And Brian would say something like, he can't say, I'm going down to the shops and I'm getting a thing, because later on, when we see him, in episode 7, if he's got both those things, it won't work within the, and he's. And sometimes you think he's not really paying attention to that small stuff. He'd pick up things that had been completely missed, and it's extraordinary to be around when somebody is that kind of savantage. It's fascinating.
Great. Thank you so much.